Alright, hello everyone. Today we're going to be talking about the upcoming Leo Cup number 2. This is going to be your Nakayama 1200 meters sprint CM, and if you have done a sprint CM beforehand, you will know how crazily volatile these CMs are. These CMs don't really require you to get your Turf S or your Sprint S, but they do require you to go and hunt down the specific skills that are very important for this track. Skills win you these games, so definitely focus more on getting the skills. This track is going to be highly dominated by pace chasers and also little bit for frontrunner. Frontrunner is not super duper strong, but they can win on this track in particular. For this track, it's going to be mainly a final corner track. The reason why pace chasers are going to be the default option is because they have just so much good stuff for final corners. They have Nishino, they have Taiki, they have Speedstar, they have Shadow Break. Just a lot of very solid skills here that have very good potential. Speed carryover potentially on a final corner is going to be able to be game winning. So that's why they are going to be hunting down for a lot of those corner skills. So that's why this track is going to be dominated by pace chasers, because they are just the easiest position to go and make for this track. In addition, for your pace chasers, you have a plenty of free options. So that's why you can just toss in an Oguri Cat pace chaser, toss in a Bakushin pace chaser, toss in an Air Groove pace chaser, and those will just settle your win rate already, just like that. Very solid for these kinds of CMs, for a lot of the newer players to actually participate and get very nice wins. For those 90% win raters, this is not going to be a CM for you, so if you hate it, you just hate it, but you cannot really win 90% of your races in this CM because it's just stupidly random. Notably for these CMs also, please go and hunt down specific skills like concentration if you can. Basically remove the possibility of late start, and late start will actually make you lose the game in these kinds of short CMs, as a late start means that you will never have enough time to catch back up, so your horse will definitely lose. Of course, you can just gamble 3 horses without concentration, that's perfectly okay as well. That is your meta understanding for this track. It's going to be pace chasers followed by front runners. Front runners, you want to get unrestrained as your secondary acceleration because the corner looks very solid for it. Right, you of course will have possible chance to miss it, but is the only other way you'll be winning the pace chasers, I assure you. So now let's move on to the inheritance list here. As per usual, front runners gets angling, your pace chasers get budding, blossom and shooting for victory. If you are a late surger, you may want to consider getting budding or Taikis, just because you don't really have another XL for this CM. There's no Majiro Double for this CM, there's no Maru for this CM, so what you're doing is basically using budding, blossom or shooting for victory as your lead surger secondary acceleration. So you maybe go for something like Majiro Ryan number 6 all the way into number 4 for your Taiki Shuttle. You can also just buy all the accelerations if you want to play like that. You can buy Pump, Iron, Shooting and Budding on the same character if you want. Like that, it's just diversifying your character. Just because of how volatile the Sprint CM is, I don't think it's such a terrible idea, right? And then of course you have your typical good mid-leg like your Valentine Bourbon or your Lights of Vaudeville and Triumphant Pulse for finishing speed. And then Shadow Break, notably for everyone that's not a front runner, you should try to get it, because Shadow Break has a potential speed carryover for this track, and you want to hit those so that you can get a 0.25 speed potentially, and that might just win you the game. So it's a very strong unique for this track. So that is your uniques here. For your stat lines, it is super simple. If you can, you guts max. You max every single speed, power, guts and wit. If you cannot, never mind. Just get speed, power and wit. That's perfectly fine also. The straight is not exactly very long. It is 900 to 1200, so it's a 300 meter straight. So dueling is not going to be super duper important. You just need to max out that power because it's a sprint CM, and the shorter the track, the more valuable the power stat is. The wit, you max it just for consistency, and your speed, you max it because it's speed, so you just always max it. If you can guts max all the way and max everything and then get a lot of very good sprinting skills, you'll be very happy also. Make sure you prioritize skills over everything, right? The skills are the winning condition for this track here. It's not going to be your stat line, since everyone can get the stat lines. You can get crazy 1200, 1200, 1200, 1200. Stamina, who cares? But even then, if the skills don't hit, you still don't win. That's just how it is. Right, don't fear the UGs, right? Fear the UGs with the humongous list of skills that are very good for this track. They are corner sprints, they are pace chaser corners, right? These are the scary ones, because if they hit it on the carryover part, the final corner, they will just win the game off of that. So now we move on to the actual tier list. For the tier list, you basically have a bunch of very solid options here, like your S-Maru and your Falcon and your Suzuka for the front runner positions. Do go and hunt down for Unrestrained. Why Suzuka is not higher is just because we are in Mant. Other than that, for your pace chasers for this tier, you can basically use your Wedding Fine Motion, your Ballroom Fuji, your Narita Brian, Mayano Top Gun, Hishi Akebono. These are horses with decent unique procs, so you can rely on those unique procs and then hunt down the rest of your sprinting skills onto them. They will be able to function perfectly fine, especially for someone like Brian. Brian has super generic skills also. Just finishing speed skill or just random straight line speed skill is just super generic, so she's definitely very solid and can get a potential 0.45 speed carryover, right? So these horses are not particularly bad. It's just that some of them may be a little bit tricky to build because their innate skills are not very ideal, or it's just because some other horses above you have more easy brainless uniques to go and buy. For your A tiers, you have Bamboo Memory, who is a very solid late surger for this Sprint CM. Of course, her XLs are not exactly the most ideal, but she does have an innate very powerful XL for this track, and she can definitely perform very solidly. Regular Fuji, finishing speed skill, Lights of Vaudeville, any of the air grooves for speed carryover / good speed skills. They're just very solid horses for budget players. And then you have Bakushin and Kuren-chan, regular. And then you also have your V Bourbon here. V Bourbon is not exactly a very good sprinter horse. She's more of a medium-ish horse or any of the other tracks just because she has the recovery. But of course, she does have a lot of very strong innate skills, so you can just easily make her and then min-max her like crazy because her speed bonus is super easy and everything else, right? Her career is also super duper easy. So V Bourbon is also another very good, solid option. And then for your S tiers, you basically have the two Taikis. Both Taikis are insanely strong for this track. Camping Taiki has Golden Hit-On. That is actually super valuable for a Sprint CM. I know right now it's not buffed yet, it's still full phase random, but 0.4 XL is nothing to laugh about. It is still very strong and will win you your games. Taiki Shuttle, her unique alone will win you the game. You just want to get that unique. The problem will be just the innate skills are mild, so that's a bit annoying, but you can just easily go and find the skills just by racing or through your cards. And then for your Nishino Flower, and she is basically going to be able to function because she has a very strong unique, again similar to Taiki Shuttle. Budding Blossom is very good. And then after that, you also have your finishing speed skill inside your goal skills. The other one, Determined Descent, is not that great, but if you are aiming for Lucky Pacer, you can try to do that, right? And then of course, good old Oguri Cap. Oguri Cap, if you want to be a brainless player, you want to have a very comfortable career, you want to be able to max your speed with no thoughts in your head, this is the horse to use. You just full pump sprint, you go into make a new track, you do every single race in the world because you're Oguri Cap and you have every single proficiency required. You have Nimble Navigator, you have Corner Seal, which is actually not even terrible for this track. And then after that, you just go and buy every other random XL or any other random corner speed skill and you're done. So Oguri, the queen of easy brainless win game horses, right? She really is very powerful for this track. And then of course we have Wedding Kuren, who is also very good. So the reason why some of the horses like Wedding Kuren and regular Kuren have the hard training part is just because they don't have medium, so you might be a little bit struggling in the skill points department or in your consistency in your races. Of course, Wedding Kuren, her unique is good, her sprint skills are good, she's perfectly functional for this track here. Later on, when more sprint specialists come out, then she will fall off a little bit, but for now she's one of the stronger horses to use for this Sprint CM. But of course, there's plenty of options here. Feel free to use any of your favorite positions, your front runners, your pace chasers, and you will be perfectly fine for winning. I'm sure a lot of you follow the meta and just pull Nishino Flower and V Bourbon and you have an Oguri Cap or you have any of the Taiki, so you have like plenty of options here to just toss in there and just try to win with them. For your front runner skills, the most important one to mention is Unrestrained. Please buy Unrestrained. You really do need to try to gamble to go and win the other pace chasers, as the pace chasers have a lot of other crazy options to try to win with you. If you can, try to get Concentration, but Concentration is not a very easy skill to go and find right now, so I would say just don't bother with it if you can't get it. But if you can get it, then sure, go and get it. Don't buy Focus. Focus is not that valuable. Concentration is the most valuable one, so I would rather you not buy Focus, just buy Con. You can buy Focus if you need it for your +1 opening skill for groundwork. Otherwise, just typically go and buy everything that you need, like your groundwork, your early lead, your 2 to 3 greens maybe to go and activate your groundwork, angling and scheming, your Unrestrained, and then after that your distance skills plus any of your corner skills. Those will be the ones you're aiming for your front runner position. For pace chaser, you want to get Budding Blossom, Shooting for Victory, just anything random. It just gives you a random XL. You just go and buy. Meticulous Measure, Sprinting Gear, United Spirit Power, Countermeasure, Nimble Nav is the least consistent on this track because of the final corner in the XL zone, but if you buy it for cheap, it's still pretty okay to go and pick up. Head On also is a very important skill to go and hunt for. Some people might even want to consider putting Daiwa Power into their deck just to get Golden Hit On. I know it's not buffed, but it's a sprint CM, so it's a random CM. You just buy it just cause you want to gamble and win. And then for your good speed skills, you just buy anything that gives you very good speed, as well as any of your finishing speed skills like Triumphant or Vaudeville or Shadow Break for your mid-leg potential carryover. Late surges are going to be a little bit more tricky trickier. They really don't have anything. That's why it's a bit hard to recommend them. They only can use the Budding Blossom and Shooting for Victory, and then after that they will need to go and find all the other random excels, and then you need to have a horse who has very strong innate unique as well to go and be able to participate in a late surger position. Late surger is going to be not very strong until later on when Daichi Ruby and the Daichi Power card comes out. Then that will be the time where late surgers will be able to participate more in a sprinting CM. But even in the future, it's primarily pace chasers and front runners. Right? After that, we have end closers. End closers, you're kind of homeless. If you really want to try to make them win, then you will really have to go for a daring strike, go for a crazy amount of mid leg, and then you must pump. Right? And then when you pump, you need to go and get any other speed carryovers, or you can gamble for potentially like a rage shift delayed, maybe something like that could be something that you do here. But otherwise, if you want to try to use end closers, I would rather you go back to late surges, because at least late surges you can get like slick surge and whatnot to try and gamble, right? So yeah, that's other stuff to go and consider for your end closers. Just throw in like 3 guts cards plus your 1 throne plus 1 fine motion with here. This will be the last time that you actually meta wise use throne. If every other CM will just be in the grand life scenario already, right? So this is the last time you'll be able to use this throne card over here, so do try to make use of it, right? Okay, then after that, for your pace chasers, you don't really need anything too crazy. Fine motion is still the best wit card in the game, so you will still just use that and then use the speed star skill if you can. Otherwise, get prepared to pass if she doesn't want to give it to you, right? And then for your late surgers, please swap in your nice nature if you have it, just cause nice nature will be able to give you on your left, and on your left is a valuable skill for such a short CM, because random skills are very valuable for these kinds of CMs. For end closers, make sure you slot in your Mr. CB, and as you can see here, every single deck should try to fit in the throne card. And as you can see here, for those of you who are looking at this 1 speed card over here, if your horse has 20% speed bonus, you can take out this speed card here. Basically, if you don't need the extra speed because you can just raw guts max everything, then you just put 4 guts cards and then 2 wit cards here, 1 borrowed throne. It can be quite an F2P deck for the sprint CM. So you can do 4 guts plus this card for wit, and then plus this card here. Don't have this card, never mind, put in another equivalent wit card in there. If you have no other equivalent wit card, put in Agnes Tachyon, whatever, right? That's just how good the throne card is. It's really going to be a very solid wit card. And then for the last part here, for your team comps, you have the classic triple pace chasers. Literally just throw 3 pace chasers inside, you will definitely be able to win. There will also be some possibilities for front runners to go and play the game, so you will see some front runners, so Taiki will not have to worry about missing the 3 and 4 super much. These are some of the more generic horses here. As you can see here, right, actually this is a very nice team comp of Bakushin, V Bourbon, and your Wedding Current. They literally don't care about position that much. They just care about 50% I activate my unique, 50% I activate my unique, or the horse is like 3 distance behind me, I activate my unique, right? It's very generic, so they are not super position locked, so this could be more flexible for you. And then you have V Bourbon, and then you can just put whatever you want. Another pace chaser if you want, like just put 2 front runner plus a Taiki here is also perfectly fine. You're guaranteed number 3, right? If you are the strongest Taiki shutter in the lobby, right? Then 1 pace chaser plus 2 backliner is the one I wouldn't really recommend, right? Backliners are just not very strong for this CM, but if you were to do some backliners, it would probably be either Air Groove, Oguri Cap, or your Bamboo Memory for these kinds of CMs, right? And of course, if you're super duper lazy, just use a Team Shot horse, because literally a Team Shot horse usually has the enough skills to win this game. Alright, assuming that you did make them modernized for Make a New Track, your Team Shot horse can straight up just randomly win, because they have all of the random acceleration skills that are required to try and win these CMs here, right? Take note, just Nimble Navigator is a very low proc chance. The Umas will spread out on final corner. That's the last note to go and say over here, right? So that's pretty much it for this video here. Sprint CM is really nothing much to go and talk about. It's really just a bunch of pace chasers. Then you just try to get Uma stand as much as possible, and then you buy all of the relevant skills for corners, since this is the final corner, and whoever hits shall win. That is the Sprint CM. Very volatile CM. If you late start one time, you just do not expect to win already, right? That's just how the Sprint CM kind of goes. So that's pretty much it, guys. Thanks for watching. Any other questions, please feel free to go and join the Discord. The Discord has plenty of capable people to go and explain the rest of the nuance to you. And then if you need me to go and explain it to you, you can join me on Twitch or YouTube live streams, or you can DM me on Ko-fi and I'll try my best to answer your questions. Right, so that's pretty much it, guys. Thanks for watching. See you guys next time. Bye bye.